Hi, I'm Feroz Khan, and welcome to Drag and Drop Low Code Unplugged, the podcast where we explore the game changing impact of low code in software development. Join me in insightful conversations with IT leaders and passionate low code enthusiasts who are at the forefront of this digital evolution. Together, we'll explore how early adoption of low code is giving businesses a competitive edge on a global scale. We'll discuss its impact on software development, dissect its role in transforming businesses, and uncover the ways in which it's reshaping career trajectories. So whether you're a seasoned IT professional or a curious enthusiast, be sure to tune in as we share success stories and unravel the mysteries of low code. Subscribe now and stay tuned for a front row seat to the revolution that's shaping the future of technology. So let's go. Hi Ricardo, how are you?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. And yourself?
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Happy
Thank
to
you
be here.
for thank you for agreeing to be a guest. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, great to be part of this interesting project.
Amazing. Have you done something like this before?
Yeah, I did a couple of podcasts in the past, more around marketing and in
Yeah,
Portugal.
yeah,
I'm sure we'll talk about my journey and
yes, yes,
relocation from
yeah,
Portugal, but yeah,
yes.
so yeah.
Amazing. So yeah, talking about yourself, obviously it'd be good to kind of start with for you to tell us a bit about yourself, who you are. Obviously, you've jumped around, so it'd be good to kind of learn about yourself a bit.
Sure. Well, so my name is Ricardo. I'm Portuguese, as I was saying. Lived all my life, almost all my life in Portugal. Married with three kids, three small kids, and currently living in the US. So almost for 2 years now, based in Florida. And I'm the Noesis managing director for North America, and also global head of marketing for Noesis. So basically I have a background on sales and marketing mostly.
Mm,
Last couple of not couple last years
mm,
in IT space, and Noesis is an IT services provider originally from Portugal, but today operating and with subsidiaries in 7 different countries. So I'm overseeing our US subsidiary based in Raleigh. I'm personally in
yeah,
Florida, as I said, but our
yeah,
offices are in Raleigh, North Carolina.
yeah.
And I'm also overseeing, as I mentioned, all our marketing operations globally.
Okay. And obviously you said your background was sales and marketing, and then you entered the tech space.
Yeah.
Um, what kind of was the tech space something you wanted to get into? Was that something you kind of saw yourself kind of, as you were kind of growing in your, career? Was that something that was a goal for you to get into?
Uh, at some point, yes. I
Mm,
wouldn't say from the beginning, but
mm,
well, my background in terms of academic studies are on marketing and communication. So I started it, I would say, pretty standard
mm,
career journey. I started in working in advertising. Actually, it's a fun
yeah.
fact. So working for different agencies, initially on B2C, so fast moving consumer goods,
Mm,
big well-known brands,
yeah.
Procter and Gamble, Unilever, and all of that. So doing ads,
Yeah.
brand activation, promotional campaigns, point of sale. So a lot of B2C. Then I moved to another agency, also to work on the advertising or marketing space. But this agency was more focused on B2B. So it was
Mm,
kind of a journey. So I got into B2B and I love it. B2B. I love corporations and doing
yeah.
business with corporations more than uh, end consumer, right?
Yeah.
So I enjoyed a lot that experience, and on that B2B journey and working on marketing and lead generation and all that stuff. I actually, one of our biggest customers was Oracle. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, working for Oracle, I started getting more into the uh, buying process, B2B process, which is quite
Mm,
different than
yeah.
mass consumer or fast moving consumer goods. So I start learning and studying more about lead generation, how to nurture a lead, long sales cycle,
Yeah.
a lot of field marketing events, as you know, in this space, in the IT
Yes.
space. It's a lot about
Yeah.
events, partners,
It is. Yeah.
channel, all of that. So Oracle gave me that experience. I organized a lot of go-to-market initiatives with them, partner events, stuff like that. And that was like the click. I would say, okay,
Yeah.
IT is fun. It was a lot of at the time, so this was like 20 years ago, Oracle
Mm.
was a lot of hardware, servers,
Yeah.
so stuff that I didn't understood,
Yeah. Yeah.
systems, ERPs, all that stuff. So I started studying it to do my
Mm.
job, and it got interesting. So IT, I got like interested in learning more about it, trying to understand a little bit, as I'm not an engineer or a technical
Yeah.
guy. And also IT was booming, right? So, and now
Mm.
everything is digital transformation,
Yeah.
everything is around this. So that was like the click when I thought, okay, IT career could be interesting. Then the challenge was, okay, my background is communication and marketing and agencies. So uh, the switch is not easy.
Yeah.
So I tried to go a little bit on the sales side, because sales,
Yeah.
I think it gives you a good baggage, a good
Yeah.
background to work on it. So I switched to sales roles on the IT space, initially on software as a services companies with
Mm.
products and solutions and stuff like that. I did that path. Then I moved to consultancy, worked for Inetum, so
Yeah.
formerly GFI, a French big
Mm.
group. And then once I got in that space of the IT consultancy and IT providers companies, I got the chance to go back to marketing as marketing
Yeah.
director at Noesis in 2019. And after 3 years, almost 3 years being a marketing director and very pretty much involved and engaged with our internationalization and our external markets and the growth of the company, I got this opportunity to take the lead on the US subsidiary, and I keep also my responsibility as a global head of
Yeah.
marketing, but I would say 90% of my time is focused on US market and our US subsidiary and our growth challenges. So it was a little bit this was the
Yeah.
my
It's
path and
interesting.
my
Very
history.
interesting. Yeah.
So
That's cool.
I'm
And
in the IT to stay.
yeah, 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 exactly, exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
And when you before you started at Noesis, had you heard of low code? Obviously you're in Portugal. Most people tend to hear of OutSystems. Had you heard of it, or was it you'd heard of it but didn't know much about it? What was your kind of exposure to it?
Yeah, I start hearing about OutSystems when I was getting into this industry. So as I told you, I work for some SAS,
Yeah.
so software as a services companies,
Mm.
and the last one before entering in the consultancy space was a company that do custom development, so
Mm.
like mobile apps, native apps, and all that stuff. And during that period, we actually study and start hearing about OutSystems, and the company actually evaluated the possibility of being an OutSystems partner. That didn't
Yeah.
happen at the moment, but it was my first time hearing about
Mm.
OutSystems
Okay.
as another, I would say, another
Yeah.
line of business. Okay, we do native business, native mobile applications, but let's look at this OutSystems thing,
Yeah.
because it also allows you to build mobile apps and stuff like that. It was the first time. Then Inetum, so GFI Group, is also an OutSystems partner, not so significant as Noesis, but they
Mm.
also have a smaller line of business on that space. So that was actually the first time I was an account
Mm.
manager, so a sales guy.
Yeah.
That was the first time that I really start engaging with OutSystems as a partner. And then I moved to Noesis, which is one of the biggest partners in the ecosystem and in the world. So at Noesis, yes, I
Yeah.
deeply dive on the
Yeah. Yeah.
OutSystems and low code space. Yeah.
Yeah. And you mentioned you relocated to sunny Florida 2 years ago.
Right. Right.
Was that something, relocation seems to be a thing before
Mm-hmm.
the pandemic. I think a lot of people, you'd speak to a lot, especially in our space, you'd speak to a lot of people who, oh, I'd love to work here, I'd love to work there, and they have all these goals to work internationally. And since then, it's kind of, I just want remote as long as I can earn potential from these countries. Was relocation something that was on your mind throughout your career, or was it something that when it was presented to you, you then analyzed it and thought about it?
Yeah, I often say that I didn't have any ambition of doing an international career. That's why I'm 44, so I relocated with 42. So
Yeah,
it was maybe later than usual because I didn't have that ambition. Let's say I
yeah,
never thought deeply about it, so it was kind
mm.
of an opportunity. But the fun fact is, like, when I moved in, so after like 3 months being here, I told to my wife, well, we should have done this like 10 years ago. So I switched for a
Yeah,
position where I was, okay, I'm not interested, I'm not thinking
mm.
about it, to now that I'm
Yeah,
here,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah, maybe I should have done this in early 30s without kids, and having
yeah,
kids
yeah,
like maybe born in here or
yeah,
whatever. It would be a much easier relocation,
yeah,
and also, of course, in terms of career perspectives,
mm.
could have been a good decision. But I mean, it's what it is, and I'm super happy to be here. So, but yes, to answer your question, it was not something like part of a plan or an
Yeah,
ambition
yeah,
to have an
yeah,
international
yeah.
career.
And you mentioned obviously that you relocated with three kids, which is difficult. And
Yeah,
often even we speak to people who, if we're offering relocation roles, they mention family, kids, school, things like that. Can you kind of, give us some, for anyone who's looking for any advice or, on that kind of thing, how was it? I'm assuming obviously three kids would be challenging, but can you give us any insight into that?
yeah, sure. Well, in my case, I think it was how do you say it, like the perfect mix of factors, right? Almost the perfect storm, but in a
Yeah,
positive way. Because my wife also works in the IT space for a big
nice.
corporation, multinational, well, one of
Hmm.
the biggest. So starts with an M.
Okay.
Okay, so that one.
Has it got four
But
letters?
no, more,
More,
more
okay.
than four. Yeah.
I thought it was
Well,
meta, but okay.
it's the biggest one,
Okay.
American
Oh, yes,
corporation.
I know what you're
So
talking
yeah,
about. Okay, yes,
yeah.
I do know. Yes, I do know.
So
Yes.
yeah, she works for it. Just well, it's not a secret, but it just
Yes.
I was just making fun. But so
Yeah.
of course, it's being a multinational. Of course,
Yeah.
the career path is always there. So
Yeah.
it was kind of a double opportunity. Like, she had that
Mm,
chance to. I had this opportunity at Noesis, and it was at the same time. So the decision as a family, it was kind of easier because we both had
mm,
the opportunity at the same time. And even in terms of location, of course, the US is huge, but well,
mm.
the different locations that were a possibility for her because they have policies that, well, they're much
Yeah.
bigger than Noesis. It aligned also with our Noesis goals. Although, as I mentioned, we have offices. Our offices in terms of Noesis are in Raleigh, North Carolina,
Yeah.
but so that was not an option for her. But we found a
Yeah.
good solution for both. So that decision was easier when compared to, okay, the husband or the wife has an
Yeah.
opportunity to relocate, and the partner has to
You're
like leave
dragging everybody
everything,
along. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Sure.
and
Sure.
drop a career or something. In this case, it was not the case, so it was easier. And also on the kids perspective, they are small kids. So my oldest has 11, and I have twins with 7. So they were kind of initiating cycles. So the twins
Yeah.
were going to first grade, so start of elementary, and my oldest was going to 5th grade, so
Okay.
start of in the
Yeah.
US, middle school, or end of elementary. So it was like also the perfect spot because it was not in between cycles. They were not too old, like
Yeah.
teenagers, and saying, hey, I
Yeah.
have my friends and girlfriend, I
Yeah.
want to
Yeah. Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
So it was all combined. It was like, if was not like 10 years before,
Yeah.
like I
Yeah. Yeah.
told
Yeah.
you, it would be even easier. This one was like the sweet spot. So that's why we look at it. It was like, okay, we have this.
Yeah.
It's nothing that we've planned, but we go now or it won't happen, right?
It won't
It's
happen. Yeah.
perfect timing. So that part was easier. Of course, then everything regarding a relocation and changing a continent is, as you can imagine, challenging. We are talking
Yeah.
offline,
Yeah.
off the record, about the visa process, which is
Yes.
very difficult and long, and we don't have visibility. So you are
Yeah.
like, okay, am I moving next month, in 2 months,
Yeah.
next week?
Yeah.
So you have to be everything prepared, but at the same time, you cannot move forward like with selling stuff or
Yes.
so.
Exactly.
So you have to
Exactly.
be like almost ready with your luggage
Yeah,
on the door and
yeah.
say, okay, your visa is approved. You have 2
Yeah,
weeks
yeah,
to move.
yeah.
Okay, let's go. So that part was funny. But as I mentioned, with small kids, it was easier. We just tried to, we also got lucky because I moved in September. So the school year in Europe, typically, as you know, in Portugal
Yeah,
starts in September.
yeah,
Here in the US starts in August.
yeah.
So this means that they missed 1 month of school,
Okay,
which is
yeah.
not like super serious.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
once again, it was lucky because it was not in the middle of the school year, so
Yeah.
everything aligned
Worked out
well.
well, yeah, worked out
Yeah,
well.
but and then also I always say this: moving to the US, it's kind of easy. I mean, there's a lot of cultural differences. We're
Yeah,
chatting also
yes, we were,
offline about it,
yeah.
and we can deep dive a little bit on that
Yeah,
if you want. But I mean, for us and from Portugal, we are very exposed to US pop culture,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Movies
yeah,
and
of course, yeah.
music. My all-time bands are American bands. I
Okay.
grew up as a teenager seeing the iconic movies and stuff.
Yeah,
So I remember, just a fun fact, the first time I visited New York as a tourist, like 20
yeah.
years ago, I got there with my wife, at the time was my girlfriend, and we said, okay, this is familiar. Like, I know this. I know
Yeah,
this city.
bro,
New York, you can
yeah.
walk around and you know
Yeah,
that
yeah,
there's the
yeah,
Empire State Building, and you look at
yeah,
the map and you can identify Central Park, all that stuff.
yeah,
So because it's so familiar, I think the move was like easier than I mean,
yeah,
moving to, I don't know, Asia. It's maybe
yeah,
a
of course.
more cultural clash,
Yeah, of course, yeah. Language
right?
barrier as
Cultural
well.
clash. I mean, to the US, I don't think so. English, of course, language barrier, yes, as you're saying. So cultural, of course, there are a lot, now that we are here, we understand there are a lot of cultural
Yeah,
differences,
yeah,
but I mean, not that much as moving to a country with different culture rules, social rules,
yeah,
religion. So here, I think it was easier.
yeah. And then you touched on it, and yeah, it was going to be my question about obviously, the culture change and things that you've learned since you've been there. What's some things that you've kind of really one
Uh,
been shocked about maybe, and two maybe ones that you're trying to embrace that you think is a good thing.
yeah, trying to embrace the way of doing business and relationships. The US is very open to the networking culture. It's something that they invented, right? So
Yeah,
there are, I was commenting with you that it
yeah,
seems like they born with it, like, or
yeah.
they teach them that on the since, like, I don't know, elementary, like
Elementary
being,
school, yeah,
yeah, being
yeah.
social
Yeah,
network, make contacts, explore your
yeah,
network, explore your net of contacts, be like entrepreneur, be proactive. So that's a
yeah,
cultural difference compared to Europe, and specifically with Portugal. In Portugal, we
mm,
have like, I'm not gonna I, I mean, I'm not gonna approach this CIO of
yeah, yeah,
this
yeah,
fancy company. There's a
yeah.
barrier.
A bit
There's a
standoffish,
lot
yeah,
of, yeah.
yeah,
And here it's pretty much open, so I love it. It's something that I'm trying to embrace. It's a little bit sometimes out of my comfort zone, like getting to a conference with thousands, 20,000 people, and
yeah,
everybody's chatting in a
yeah,
coffee break
yeah,
and making
yeah,
conversation. And I'm
yeah.
like, okay, I cannot stand here
Yeah,
like by
exactly,
myself looking at the
exactly.
phone, right? Okay, engage, meet
Exactly.
people, exchange cards, and not that
Yeah,
now business cards are a little bit out of
yeah,
date, but I mean, exchange LinkedIn, make
yeah,
conversations. But I love it. I mean, it's out of my comfort zone, but it's something that they are so used to it. It's so
yeah.
natural for them. Like the elevator pitch, all that concept that we learn
Yes.
in management
Yeah,
and marketing, they
yeah.
were invented in the US, most of
Yes,
it.
yes,
Like the
yes.
90-second elevator pitch, all that.
Yeah,
So that comes out naturally.
yeah,
In Europe, you have to learn it. Okay, what
yeah,
is
yeah,
my elevator
yeah.
pitch? How do
Yeah,
I introduce myself? They do it naturally. So I'm learning and I'm trying
yeah,
to improve. The shocking difference. Well, I don't want to go into
yeah.
politics or stuff, so I'll skip that one. I would say the credit stuff, the credit
Okay.
score, and
Yeah.
you need to build credit to be
Credit,
able,
yeah.
like,
Yes,
you'll. I know that
yeah,
you're relocating here,
yeah,
so you'll learn about this. Like, without a credit score, you are no one here. You cannot get a
yeah,
loan. You cannot get a bank. You cannot get a credit card. You cannot do anything. So,
yeah,
and you have to build it, and it's like an algorithm, so you have to know the rules, and then you have a score that you can see online. So that's something that doesn't exist in Europe. I mean, of course there are credit backgrounds if you go to a bank, get a loan, but you don't have like an app to see your credit score. Oh, my credit, I'm green now, I'm yellow. Oh, it's dropping, it's increasing. What do I have to do to increase? So that was shocking. I was like, what do you mean? I have to have a credit score. So, but it's a fun, shocking thing.
Yeah, I think the main thing is that you're enjoying it, and like you said, you're there, and you have the sense that you wish you did it earlier rather than regretting it. So shifting to kind of talking a bit about Noesis and the business. I think most people know who Noesis are, but it'd be good for you to kind of tell us who Noesis are, what's their kind of strategy in the market, and obviously about a bit about your role and what the goal of your role is in the US.
Sure. So I'll try to give you a quick glimpse. So Noesis is an IT services provider, as I mentioned, with 30, actually celebrating 30 years of presence in the market this year. Founded in Portugal, and with a very broad scope of services. So we are an IT services provider. So as mentioned, so we go from IT infrastructure, IT operations, cloud, cybersecurity, to data analytics, AI, automation, RPA, quality management, DevOps. So a lot of services, which includes, of course, software development and low-code development, which is the topic for today. And about low-code, we specifically, it's one of our biggest practices, not the biggest, but I would say second or third in terms of all these practices in the company, in terms of revenue and team size. We're talking about almost 200 OutSystems developer, well, not only developers and all the roles, architects, tech leads, UX, UI, all that stuff. So almost 200 and some millions in terms of revenue globally. And the fun fact about Noesis is that we started this low-code practice almost since day one with OutSystems, and and we exclusively work with OutSystems in this space. So low-code for us means OutSystems. In the other areas, of course, we have different, in analytics, we work with Microsoft Stack, of course, but also Click, Tableau, all that stuff. And low-code is specific OutSystems. And that's the fun fact. Of course, as you know, OutSystems was also founded in Portugal. So there was like a combination. So we are official partners since 2008, which is basically when OutSystems created a channel and a partner program. So we are partners since officially since day one. But actually, I was not in the company, so I don't want to say anything not accurate. But I think the very first project we worked with using this technology was like in 2006. So I think OutSystems was founded like in 2004. So we work actually on the first project and the first OutSystems customer in the world.
That's a really cool fact, actually.
That's so OutSystems sold the first time to a big company in Portugal on the telco space. I think it was this one, as I'm mentioning, I don't want to miss it. But and we were part of that project, and it still is a customer of ours, almost 20 years later. So that was the fun fact. So OutSystems was a startup. We learned, I don't know how, but we discovered the technology. Our CEO is is of course with all these years collaborating, as a close relationship with also OutSystems CEO, and so it was a joint growth. And actually, the second fun fact is regarding our internationalization. As I mentioned, Noesis. We are so close that sometimes I switched. I even have the swag of OutSystems.
Oh yeah, nice, cool.
So we are really, I would say, almost brothers, and we love to be that way. But as I was saying, the other fun fact is regarding our internationalization. So Noesis is currently in 7 different countries with offices and subsidiaries. So besides US, the Netherlands, Spain, Ireland, which covers UK and Ireland region, Brazil, What am I missing? Spain, and
I
now
think
we
you
are
just
opening.
announced Middle East, Saudi somewhere, wasn't it?
Yes,
Middle
we
East,
are
yeah.
opening this year Middle East in the United Emirates, Arab. I never say how to say it. Sorry,
I
United
just say Dubai.
Emirates.
When everyone asks me, I
Dubai.
just say Dubai or UAE.
Yeah,
That's all I
I have to
say.
train this. I mean, I'm the marketing guy. I
Yeah,
have to train
exactly.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's Emirates United,
Yeah.
Arab United, I
Yeah.
think. But well, yeah,
Yeah.
Dubai. Let's just
Yes.
simplify
Yeah.
it. So, but the fun fact I was saying is like we started this internationalization. It's part of our DNA since the very
Mm.
beginning. So Noesis is born in Portugal in 30 years ago, but and our founders started to
Yeah.
do that path to be an international and multinational company as we are today. But part of those internationalization and those movements were also with OutSystems. To give you an example, we went to the Netherlands a lot of years ago, because as you know, I think you know this, and everybody that is listening to us, the Netherlands is currently one of the biggest OutSystems markets, right? And ecosystem.
Yes. Yeah.
So it was like, I don't know if it was the first, but it was one of the first markets outside of Portugal that OutSystems bet on.
Yeah.
And of course, as you imagine, as they are opening a new market and a new technology and all of that stuff, they needed partners to go
Yes.
help. So we were challenged to go to the Netherlands with them. And the other movement was precisely the US. We are here since 2017, so 6 years now. And we also came, actually our first office was in Boston, where is OutSystems.
Where OutSystems is,
yeah. Because it was kind of the same movement. Okay,
yeah.
We are investing a lot in the US. Of course, there's no developers in the US. There's no partner and channel there. So we need our European most reliable and most expert partners to go with us. So we went. So those two of these 7 countries where we have operations and offices and subsidiaries were kind of a joint also efforts with or challenged by OutSystems, or we thought about it about also with OutSystems. So we have this umbilical and this brotherhood almost relationship. So since the very first project, very first markets, and so that's the fun fact, and we still are. And now, of course, they grow a lot. They have a huge international operation and a huge partner channel. I think there are more than 600 partners currently. But we still are on top 3, so we are still one of the biggest in all the different requirements, OutSystems requirements. I mean, in terms of project delivery, we have delivered already, I think, more than 200. Customer satisfaction index, expertise and certifications and team size, as I mentioned. So we still are one of the biggest, even with GSIs and the big 4s in the ecosystem and all of that. We still are in the top. So it's actually a fun story. Not a fun story. It's a good story to tell, and we love to be part of this ecosystem.
I think it's great that you, like you said, I didn't know it's been there from the beginning and kind of side by side the whole way, and kind of really and you're solely kind of in the low code space. You've picked OutSystems, and that's the one you're kind of going with, and it does make sense. You're both Portuguese founded businesses, so there would be a bit of kind of brother from another mother kind of feeling, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's a little bit like that. Yeah. And of course, then being an IT consultancy or IT provider with this scope of services, that also gives us a leverage or a differentiator, because we are not, beside having one of the biggest OutSystems teams in the world, we are not only an OutSystems shop, meaning that we can add data, AI. We're doing a lot of stuff, as you can imagine, combining Gen AI with OutSystems and OutSystems applications. I mean, all the infrastructure, cloud management, cybersecurity, all these services give us a good position to our customers, because of course we are good, and I would say best in breed on developing OutSystems apps, but we can add all of this. And there are other competitors that are only a software house, right? OutSystems development house. So it's good and bad, of course. I'm not comparing, but for us, is a differentiator in the market and the way customer sees it.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, since you've kind of, you know, when you're obviously talking to customers on a regular basis, in your experience, what advantages do you think low code kind of offers, for digital transformation for, when you speak to these customers, and obviously you guys aren't just a low code house, so you will obviously evaluate and see what's the best option based on that project. But what do you see as some of the common factors that pushes it towards low code?
Well, I would say speed is a quick, fast answer,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Everybody talks
yeah,
about it, and it is actually, I'm not a technician, as you understand from our conversation, but what I see is like speed of development is huge. Like you can build a solution in weeks, and we
yeah,
talk, and even when we do like quotes or proposals, we talk in weeks. We don't talk in months,
yeah,
right? So
yeah,
that's the big one of the big differences of low code. I would say that's one of the still is one of the differentiators, or one of the things that customers value. Of course, also there's now, and even OutSystems has been evolving as a platform. So there's a lot of conversations today about tech debt, right? This is
yeah,
one of the biggest concerns of CIOs, vendor lock-in, all that stuff. So low code gives you that agility, right? Being able to replace legacy system in a faster way, and tackle that tech debt problem, and talent shortage, and specific knowledge, and
hmm,
all of that. So I would say that still are the key differentiators, or the selling points, if you want, to the market. Of course, I think there's still a big challenge today regarding this concept of low code, right? What is low code,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So everybody talks about low code. You have different kinds of low code. You have tools and software as a services that are low code or no code platforms. There are a lot of misconceptions and myths about low code. There's also the idea of citizenship development, which is not the business of OutSystems, and it's not
yeah,
the promise of OutSystems. So low code is such a big umbrella where everything fits in. So it's still difficult to educate the customers and the market and the companies for this specific low code that we're talking about. That's why I think it was very interesting move from Gartner and also OutSystems, because now there's a new category, not now, from the past few years, a new category, which is high performance low code,
yeah.
where
Saw that. Yeah,
OutSystems is like the leader for 6 or 7 years in a row.
yeah,
And that's a huge difference. And that's sometimes the conversation starts from here with the customer.
yeah,
High performance low code is one thing, low code is another thing. High performance low code is where OutSystems fits, and we're talking about the platform that is prepared to build enterprise grade level software and business critical applications. So it's a very reliable system, and you cannot compare, or should not compare, this high performance low code and this platform with other low code solutions that are built to, citizen development. So the
yeah,
business user can build something to tackle his work, to see a dashboard or whatever, or to do a small automation, or build some satellite, almost personal usage app. And here we're talking about applications that are built for core systems, mission critical applications,
yeah,
customer facing applications, thousands, millions of users, of data, all that stuff. So that's the big water, they
yeah,
say, water separate
yeah,
the waters in terms of
yeah,
low code. So what I see in the market is this: we still have, everybody knows or heard about low code, CIOs, CTOs, everybody is looking at
yeah,
it, but there still are a lot of misconceptions and myths. I actually did a LinkedIn post about the 7 myths around low code,
yeah,
and I'll not go over it all the 7, but it's the main one for me is this: low code. The myth is that low code is used for small developments, small applications, little automation, automate some process, and that's the first myth. So that's not
yeah,
true when, at least when we're talking about OutSystems. So there's still a lot of education needed. Of course, a lot of investment in terms of brand awareness from OutSystems to build their brand and their product.
Sure.
But there are leaders. I mean, so there are like there are leaders, not only the leaders but the pioneers. That's the
Yeah.
fact,
Yeah.
right? 20
Yeah.
years ago, Paul
Yeah.
Assad was talking about this, and no one knows about it,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
everybody thought it was crazy. Like, what a mission
Yeah. Here we are.
coding without coding and dragging
Yeah.
stuff. It's a big journey, and there's still a big path to go.
Yeah. And as as Noesis has been kind of, a partner for so long, is there any, particular success stories that you could talk about without mentioning names of
Right.
companies, that, the company's particularly proud of?
Yes, there are, and I would say globally. So one that we are very proud of is that very first project
Yeah.
in the world. So that's one. But the interesting part is that OutSystems, the possibilities of or OutSystems is built to allows you to build different kind of applications, from core systems, end user apps,
Mm,
internal efficiency, all of that. So we have success stories and case studies and big corporations, customers that in all the three layers. I mean, from building an ERP for a huge company in the Netherlands, and it's one of the biggest projects and OutSystems customers in the world, is a flagship customer for OutSystems, and it's public.
mm,
We were the ones developing the application, that application there. We have an application and a customer here in the US that is they have a really critical mission. They work for basically their customers are Fortune 500 companies, multinational. So it's regarding risk management and regarding the workforce in different
mm,
countries. Like if there's like war in Israel, or
mm,
you have to evacuate your employees, or Ukraine, all that's unfortunately,
mm,
or natural disaster stuff like that. And their core business is to manage this and like evacuate people and give information and all of that. And the the field app, so the app that the users, meaning the employers of the customers or the companies that are customers of this our customer,
mm,
they use an application built with OutSystems. It's a mobile app. It has more than 1 million users,
mm.
and it was built by Noesis using OutSystems platform. So that's one of because it has this almost social responsibility
Yeah.
attached, and it's a mission critical application for their business, for our customers' business, but
Mm.
also mission critical application for people that are in the field and
Yeah, of
for
course.
all
Yeah.
these Fortune 500 companies. So it's a very reliable, very critical application with a lot of users. And as I told you, with a lot of challenges, like, as you can imagine, like a natural disaster, communications are down, all that stuff. And
Yeah.
it has to work, it has to be reliable. And that, once again, going to the high performance low code, this is something that you can build. And for the CTOs and
Yeah.
CIOs that
Yeah.
may listen to
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
you can build this application using low code. So it's not low code for small stuff that we're
Yeah.
talking about. It's like mission critical application, 1 million plus users, and in hard field conditions, and it's reliable, secure, all that stuff. So that's one that we are very proud of. And then on the internal efficiency, for instance, also about talking only about US customers,
Mm.
one of our customers is one of the biggest biotech companies in the world, and we built more than 10 apps already there. But one that
Mm.
I particularly like is a clinical trials application. So it allows you, being a biotech, they have to do all those clinical trials for new
Yeah.
drugs, all that stuff, with a lot of compliance. And not only compliance, but a lot of resources, like, I mean, physical materials, right? And
Yeah.
instruments and all that stuff, people, groups, volunteers, all that. So this application allows them to, it's like almost like a project management application. So allows you to manage the full cycle of a clinical trial, control the budget, resources, allocate, manage, etc. So it's more an internal one, but it's also something that we are very proud of, and because it's, once again, mission critical application,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So once again, not small development, not small automations, and and stuff. Once again, it's an app that for this biotech is vital because part of
Yeah.
their business is to do these clinical trials and being able to monitor everything related with it, from compliance to, as I mentioned, resources, costs, all of that. So yeah, I would say these are very interesting projects that we work
Yeah,
on
very,
actually.
very, very interesting. A question I had was, obviously because you've worked in Europe and US, how have you found, if you're speaking to these CIOs, CEOs, head of digital transformation, these type of people, are you finding, because everyone knows obviously the market for low code in Europe is much more mature than the US. Obviously, there's a big focus and everyone's trying to break the US. Do you find the conversations with those C-level kind of C-suite type of people is a lot more difficult compared to Europe? And also, do you find yourself sometimes some people not really, like you said, there's an education thing that needs to happen. Is there more education required on that side of the world compared to Europe?
Yes, I think I will separate into things. One
Yeah,
is the market maturity. Yes, sure. I think Europe is more aware of these low code and the platforms also because and regarding OutSystems, of course, because they're born there. So yes, there's a lot of educational conversations around like the pitch, like I did a few minutes
yeah,
ago about
yeah, yeah,
performance and
yeah,
standard low code. I used to say that a lot. So I have a lot of conversation in events, networking,
yeah,
all that stuff that we're talking about this because when we talk about low code, what the guy you're talking to pictures is a
yeah,
different
of
thing. So you have to say low
course.
code and then explain. So
Yeah, yeah,
what is it? So yeah, I think there's more education needed in the US market when compared to Europe, particularly of course Portugal, but also like the Netherlands.
yeah,
Netherlands, for as I told you, for OutSystems, I think they're still one of their biggest markets, and it's a
yes,
tiny country as
yeah.
Portugal.
Very strong market. Yeah,
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 and also for us, I mean, Noesis
yeah.
is in 7 countries, as I told you,
Mm.
including the US, but our biggest market outside of Portugal in terms of revenue and projects and stuff is still is Netherlands. Of course, the
Netherlands.
US. My goal
Yeah.
is
Yes.
to
Get
compete
that
with
up
my
there. Yeah, yeah,
colleague,
exactly. Yeah,
with
of
my
course.
peer in the Netherlands, but he's still up a
Yeah,
little
of
bit
course.
by a little bit. We'll compare because they started early
Yeah,
also,
of course.
but also because the market is much more mature.
Yeah.
So I think that's one challenge on the educational side. Of course, the other challenge for me personally and as Noesis, and I believe also for OutSystems, is the brand
Mm,
awareness.
mm,
So of course, US is huge, the
yes.
territory is huge, the corporations are much larger. So I mean, you can do
Yeah.
a project in Europe, start with a POC or doing some pilot in a department wherever using low code and OutSystems, and then you build an app, and then the guy is proud of it and it works wonders, and then he goes like sell it inside the
Yeah.
company, and then you're growing inside the company. In huge corporations like the corporations we have in the US, so the scale is completely different. So
Yes.
it's much
Yeah.
more difficult to navigate there, to actually like do the project or do the sell, the procurement process. I mean, all the governance.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like 10 times bigger, right? A big company in Europe,
Yeah.
it's one thing. A big company in the US, an enterprise company in the
Yeah.
US, is another thing. And then, of course, the brand awareness, because I mean, let's face it, the market is so huge. So I would say the majority of people I've talked to never heard about OutSystems.
Wow.
And of course, by um, of course, even more about Noesis. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. Of course. Yeah. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's two challenges, like right? You
Yeah.
have to because like okay, if we are Noesis, no one knows about it, but we're talking about I don't know
Something very,
Microsoft
yeah.
solution or
Yeah. Half
IBM
the
or
introduction's done. Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
everybody knows it, then you have to
Yeah.
prove that you are one of the best working in that
Yes. Of
particular.
course.
So I don't know, Power BI.
Yeah.
Everybody knows it.
Yeah.
So uh, no, and compared OutSystems doesn't have that awareness. So it's a double challenge in terms of market, because you have to pitch the product, work with OutSystems, bring in the, of course, the sales reps from
Sure.
OutSystems, do that education about. You have to educate them basically everything, right? First
Yeah,
low
from
code,
scratch.
then
Yeah,
this
yeah,
platform,
yeah,
OutSystems, and then this provider, Noesis,
yeah,
which is the best. So you have to buy in. Okay, low code is for me. I want it.
yeah,
Let's look at the market. Okay,
yeah,
OutSystems is the best
yeah,
solution. And
yeah.
now, okay, I want low code. I want OutSystems. And now, who can help me? Noesis.
Yeah,
So it's a
exactly.
three-step. And in some, I mean, in Europe and in Portugal, you just need to do the third step, right?
Yeah,
Talk about Noesis.
yeah,
And even that, we're market leaders in
yeah,
Portugal. So even that is a little bit easier. I would say in the Netherlands, you have to pitch OutSystems and Noesis. Here you have to do the full cycle,
whole
low
thing.
code.
Yeah,
What is
yeah,
low
yeah,
code?
yeah,
High performance low code.
yeah.
Gartner,
Wow.
okay, these are the players. This is the leader. Prove the product. Do demos, POCs. Okay, now I like the product. Let's think about this. Let's build a POC. Okay, now I need developers to build this POC. And then there's a lot of
Yeah, wow.
Noesis and others, of course. So it's a bumpy road, but
Yeah,
the market
bumpy.
is huge. Yeah, and
Yeah,
the
that's the
market is
thing.
huge, so there's a lot of opportunities.
And they say, like, everyone goes to America for the American dream. So if you can
Right.
if you can break it, then it's
Right.
worth the challenge, isn't it?
Right. Yeah, and the good thing we're talking about the cultural difference. I would say the good thing is that they are used to it, right?
Yeah,
Startups,
yeah,
all the big corporations, most
yeah,
of them started as a startup. So
yeah,
someone believed it in some
yeah,
point. So they are, I would say, culturally, the corporation world is more open to here.
yeah.
They don't care if it's like a startup or not. They care
Mm,
about, okay, the solution is good.
yeah,
Is it reliable? Can we do like a trial, a POC, a POV? And
yeah.
then they invest if they believe it. And if it solves a
Mm,
business problem or an IT problem, they will invest. On the other end, maybe in Europe, we are more conservative. Who is this company? I never heard about this.
yeah, yeah,
Or I mean, I'm imagining that that was one of the challenges of Paulo
yeah, yeah,
when he started OutSystems in Europe. Is like,
yeah.
okay, they were looking at, okay, a platform that
Who are
can
you?
you
Yeah,
can
yeah, yeah.
you can build apps without coding. I don't care. I don't.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's part of the deal, right?
Yeah, it is. It is. It is. And your team, is it kind of, is Noesis focused on because obviously there's partners who have kind of onshore teams in all these places, or are you kind of on the model of the majority of the team sits in Portugal and delivers for all these regions? I remember when we spoke before, you mentioned like a hybrid kind of model that you're looking
Yeah.
to do. It'd be good to kind of hear a bit about that as well.
Yeah, I'm a marketing guy, so bear with me. And I kind of, I'm not going to say that I invented it because it's not me, but I kind of adopt the hybrid
Yeah,
shore approach. So yes, and that's where what we're trying to build as a company, of course. And speaking specifically about OutSystems, of course, we have a team of almost 200, as I told you before.
yeah,
The big majority are in Portugal, in different parts of the country. But our vision is to have this hybrid shore approach, meaning that we don't want to be like a nearshore slash offshore
hmm,
provider with the team in Portugal and providing service to all those regions that I
yeah,
mentioned. So we are this hybrid, which means that we are building some other centers of competences in some of these countries. So we don't
mm,
have OutSystems resources in all the regions that we are, but we are starting to have 2 3 points. One is Europe,
sure, yeah,
Portugal, but also Spain. We also have already a delivery cell in Spain, and planning to build one in Ireland, because Ireland specifically also to help serving the US market.
yeah,
Um, and we have another one in Brazil. So
nice,
I would say more solid Portugal, Spain, and Brazil
yeah,
in construction or building with already some developers and some structure in the Ireland and also in the US in Raleigh. So our offices, and as I told you before, are in Raleigh. So we
yeah,
relocated. It was part of the plan and also of my arrival. So we are here
sure,
since 2017, and since 2017 until 22, it was 100% nearshore. Okay, so we
okay,
had an
yeah,
officer here and sales representation, and
mm,
the developers were in Portugal. I arrived in 22 to build our practice and to build our operation in the US, meaning building and hiring more, not only on the sales side and management, but also building a practice in different in our different practices or services. But of course, our big bet in the US is low code. So
Sure.
we're already we're relocated a very senior architecture, OutSystems architecture, now living in Raleigh. We also relocated a developer from Europe, and now we are hiring US. We are actually starting as we speak an OutSystems Academy, which is something that
Nice.
we do a lot in Portugal,
Mhm.
and we're doing here. So we're hiring developers that come from other technologies, and we're starting
Sure.
and we're hiring it locally and starting this academy also within a university in Raleigh. So we are training like fresh programming, fresh
Nice.
graduates to the technologies.
Yeah.
So my goal is our goal as a company is to have also a bigger team in terms of onshore, in terms of local. Yeah.
Yeah. And overall, you're growing the ecosystem as well of developers,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah, we want to be part, and we are starting also to be part of the communities, OutSystems focus user groups in different regions.
Yeah.
We want to be the ones launching the North Carolina one, which I think it doesn't exist yet. We are starting conversations with
Yeah.
OutSystems to launch it. So yeah, we're part of this process since the day one, as I
So
told
yeah,
you.
exactly,
So
exactly,
yeah,
exactly. You're riding that wave, definitely.
yeah, we want to
Amazing.
contribute for that development. Yeah.
That's great. And just kind of a final question,
Mm-hmm.
about you, kind of, what's your kind of personal aspirations ahead, goals, targets. I know like you started doing some mini series videos on LinkedIn, is there any other things we can look forward to?
Yeah, well, I'm trying to do that also for building a little bit of brand recognition for us and having this marketing background. So trying to talk a little bit. I'm still one of the following ones will be an episode about low code and high performance low code.
Nice.
I still haven't recorded, but yeah, I'm trying to launch those 2 minutes short videos talking about different stuff in the IT world. But I mean, yeah, that's the exciting part of this. I always say internally that we are kind of a startup. I mean, if I think about Noesis US Corp, so the US subsidiary, but we are, I would say, a startup mentality or a startup mindset in a big company. So we are part of a group stock listed in the Spanish stock market, 200 plus million of revenue, 3,500 plus employees. These 7, 8, 9 practices that I mentioned, you present in 7 countries. So it's a solid.
It is. Yeah.
It's a solid enterprise, a solid group. But in the US, we are like a small unit. Like
of course.
we're hiring, building this OutSystems Academy, 2 developers, and 3 or 4, 5 sales guys. So yeah, a small team. So that's the challenging part, relocating with my family, all the personal side of this adventure, but also the corporate side, which is this challenge of building our brand here and our operation here after 5 years, as I said, almost 100% remote and providing services in nearshore that allows us to get some revenue, get a good amount of customers, reliable customers. And now we want to step up. So our boards and has approved with the shareholders as the strategic plan for 24 to 27, and part of that strategic plan, an important part of it, is of course of a significant growth in the US operation, not only in terms of revenue and business, but also in terms of structure. So my team will keep growing. We are hiring since I arrived, and we'll keep growing until 27. So I have a goal. It's an ambition one. So it's something that I have.
Nice.
Being in management and sales, you have to look at the numbers.
Yes,
so I have that big number that I have to achieve in 27 every year, but in 27. But that's also the exciting part. So being part of this almost startup, that's why I like to call it a startup mentality, because you built from scratch, of course, with this huge background and solid 200 developers with 600 OutSystems certifications and all these capabilities. We have guys working. We talked about we work with OutSystems since
Yeah.
2006-7, but we still have technical guys that work with the platform since version 3, I believe.
Wow.
So
Wow.
it's currently in version 11 and now
Yeah. Wow.
ABC, so
Crazy.
let's call it 12.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a huge, that's why
Yeah.
I cannot say it's a startup, of course,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
we have this huge amount of talent and talented guys in this technology. So that gives me also this opportunity to, and the excitement of building this venture here in the US. And so far so good. I'm happy to be here, and of course being part of this interesting project of yours. It's also interesting to spread the word, right? That's
Yeah.
one of
Yeah.
the biggest
Definitely.
challenges:
Yeah.
spread the
Yeah.
word, educate. So appreciate having me, and it was super interesting.
No, thank you. Thank you. It's really it was really great to kind of talk to you, and I wish you all the best. It's exciting. Even just hearing you speak, you can feel the excitement. It's a
Same here.
challenge, isn't it? You've gone to a new country,
Yeah,
and obviously you've got your 2027 target, and you've got these yearly targets, and as you know, that's something we're about to join that type of journey soon.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
can really I myself is getting excited talking to you about it.
yeah,
So it's
yeah. And
really cool.
I'm happy to help. I know you'll be in the other coast, but still in
Yes.
Florida.
Yeah.
But
We'll
yeah,
definitely catch up.
yeah, we'll change. I'll give you some pro tips
Sounds good. Sounds good.
how to
Well,
build a credit score.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the first tip. Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
Definitely. Well, Ricardo, thank you for your time.
Thank you. It was a
Thank you. It
pleasure.
was nice talking to you. Thank you for listening to today's episode, which is brought to you by ITRAC. We are a leading staffing firm that solely specializes in supplying both contract and permanent low-code professionals to organizations globally. Navigating the niche landscape of the low-code market requires the best talent, and we recognize its critical importance for our clients. Whether you're a company looking to strengthen your team, an individual seeking the next career move, or someone entirely new to the world of low-code, we're here for you. Our extensive experience and in-depth market knowledge enables us to quickly pinpoint the ideal candidates while offering expert advice and support at every stage of your low-code journey. Reach out to us through our website or connect with me directly on LinkedIn. I'd be happy to assist you. Thank you once again for joining us today. We'll be back next week with another insightful episode. Until then, take care.